Why would you hit record and then immediately get up and leave?
Because I do what I want.
That was kind of rude.
Do what I want.
But now I literally have 55 seconds of audio.
We've had much longer. Don't even.
No. But I mean, just literally nothing.
It's me closing things.
That's not.
Once
again, literally nothing.
It's just recording things for posterity.
Posterity?
Yes.
What does posterity mean, anyway?
Thing I hear smart people say sometimes.
I was trying to do a riff joke off of Uncharted, if you didn't catch that.
I caught it now that you told me.
Yeah. I remember when Sully's like, enough with all the frivolity, and he's like, what the hell does frivolity mean?
Oh, I want more Uncharted games.
So this little man is Drake.
Dude, I quivered. That was the first time in a game I was just like, ooh. He's a little intimidating.
Right?
Yeah. Haven't got a villain quite like him since.
No, we haven't.
Lazara bitch. Favorite line ever. Greetings and welcome to our show, Fresh Geek Context. It is here we discuss insightful views on a routine bi-weekly basis of the incredibly nerdy things we can't stop talking about. To take you on this dorky ride are your hosts, Josh.
It's like we never left.
And myself, Jace. So why don't you take a seat, sit back, relax. We're here to do all the heavy lifting. It is about to get nerdy. This is episode 96.
Part 2.
Don't do that.
It's not how you say it?
Not in the slightest.
Hey Siri, how do you say 2 in French?
In French, 2 is deux.
See? That's what I said. I know that look. It's movie review time. But wait, we haven't even braked yet. Is that a word?
Not in the way that you're using it, no.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No, don't say it.
What are you doing?
We do a thing here at FGC Podcast called The Cubby. It allows us to be consistent and organized following the overall reception, plot, action, acting, music, cinematography, conclusion, and stingers.
Today's movie review is Bill and Ted Face the Music.
You don't look annoyed.
Bill and Ted's third outing brings back the original duo of Alex Winter as Bill S. Preston Esquire and Keanu Reeves as Ted Theodore Logan.
And together they are Wild Stallions!
Excellent!
Oh no, don't stop for me at all, please.
We're supposed to do the thing.
I never agreed to that at all. At all. Yeah. So, Face the Music not only brings back the duo, but also several other characters as well, which we will get into.
So, the reception of this was pretty great, I would say.
Uh-huh. I think so.
It's pretty unexpected, honestly. It's been 29 years since the last movie came out, so there's a whole new generation of people that have been born and lived their own lives. And wow, I feel extremely weird and old.
Yeah. Sorry, man. It doesn't stop at all. So, needless to say, Josh and I saw this movie. I've been waiting for this movie. I grew up with this movie. I remember renting it. I don't think this was something I was allowed to see in theaters. But my parents were cool enough to actually rent it. And I do remember sitting and watching it. And it must have left an impression on me because I remember it. I watched it recently, and there were some parts that were missing, and I don't necessarily know if we're going to go into that now. But the story is very fresh in my head simply because I was able to revisit it. And, needless to say, when the trailer came out, I was shocked. I didn't think they were actually going to do it. It seemed like one of those movies where they were only going to do just like the two. For example, Gremlins 1 and 2. I love those movies, and I was very much hoping for a third one. I don't know at this point in 2020 if we're ever going to get a Gremlins 3. I don't know if it would ever be the same. I don't know if they can get the same people to even do it. Who would make it
for Gremlins 3?
Yeah, I think I would be down for that. I'd be down. I know there's got to be somebody else that's really into Gremlins as well. Let us know your thoughts. I mean, it's one of those nostalgia movies that probably Josh and I should probably do for a Comrade review, but we're not here to talk about Gremlins.
No, just like you. So I was introduced to Bill and Ted by, I want to say, my brother. Mm-hmm. Like most things in my life growing up.
Same here, Josh. Same here.
Remember exactly where it was I first saw it. He was the type to literally, I think I've mentioned this before, he was the type to literally record everything on VHS back in the day. Mm-hmm. So like that's how I mostly remember watching like Terminator 2 and like the Superman movies. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch like the VHSs. No. I watched them freaking being recorded off TNT.
Right. So TNT, that takes you back.
So like he had a bunch of these movies, and I want to say that Bill and Ted was one of them. Specifically, Bogus Journey, which is why I think in my mind I like Bonus Journey more than Excellent Adventure, even though I know Excellent Adventure is a better written and possibly a better shot film than the second one. But I just really enjoy the second one so much because that was the one that introduced me to the series. Yeah.
I've heard this before where people watch like the second movie in a series, and regardless of how like, I don't want to say terrible, but regardless of the quality of the film, that is what people have come to appreciate. Like for me, I watched Jurassic Park in theaters and I was like, this is the best movie ever created. And like years later, I'll sing praises to the original Jurassic Park movie for what it was able to do and the story and like nostalgia. And you watch it now and it's still good. But there's somebody there that were like, yeah, Jurassic Park's okay, but Jurassic Park 2 is where it's at. And I'm like, how do you even come off saying that? Like,
does people like that exist?
Yes, they do. And I realized the reason why that happens is because if they didn't get to see the first one or they saw the second one and they owned it and that's what they watched as a kid over and over and over again, that's what they become, familiar with. That's what they know. And I'm like, that's interesting. That's so interesting. And I guess that can happen for a lot of different things. For example,
that's fair.
Sonic 1, Sonic 2. There's some people who love Sonic 1 because that's the game that they grew up with. And Sonic 2 is just like, it's cool, but not the same. And to me, and I'm like, there's no contest. Sonic 2 wins every way possible.
Yeah, I also played Sonic 2 before I played the original, so Sonic 2 in my mind is like the default.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which is why I always get frustrated when I can't spin in the original.
Right. And, we go back to more games, which I'm sure we'll be talking about soon. But I keep thinking of Uncharted. Like, the first game that I played was Uncharted 2. And then I had the audacity to go back and try Uncharted. And I was like, what is going on right now? Oh, this is awful.
See, that I didn't order.
Bringing it back to Bill and Ted 1 and 2, like, of course. And I'm sure, we'll revisit it. I don't know when we're going to revisit it, but I promise that we will. But yeah, to me, those two movies are essentially the same to me because I love the first one. I love the second one. I know everything that happens in the first one, sans a few scenes. And, I know for the most part, everything that happens in the second one, it's a little bit more scenes that are there. But again, we'll come back to that later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, needless to say, the reception for this, for me, I can't really speak for everybody else because this is a weird movie. It's come out several years after the fact. And
I mean, I feel like the reception of the movie is like, if you were a fan of those original two films, the reception of this was like, the hype was insane for the people who were waiting for it.
Of course.
And the thing is like, they, leading up to this movie finally coming out, we've been hearing for years that like Keanu and Alex were like, oh, we're just looking for the right story. Hopefully something comes along. We can get it running. And then they finally got that story. And then it was like, oh, but now we need to find funding for somebody to help us shoot it, blah, blah, blah. And like, this film fought. Like, it fought to be made. And it was fought by people who were passionate about it, which is why I feel like, we'll talk about in a minute, is like the end product is like so endearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like the reception was through the roof for most fans of this movie.
Agreed. And not only the cast but also the crew, the original creators of the film were able to come back and put a significant portion of themselves back into this film. So it feels really authentic. And obviously, as we go through our different sections, it's going to be discussed entirely. So, where shall we go from here?
So we can just go to the plot.
Yeah. So, would you like to read the plot?
Sure. I would like to tell you the plot, and I will, read it to you now, Jace.
Please.
Okay? Stop pressuring me.
Doing that.
I didn't spend 10 minutes looking for this and edit out something just so I could read this, okay? Thank you.
Sure.
Gosh. The ruler of the future tells best friends, Bill and Ted, they must compose a new song to save life as we know it. But instead of writing it, they decide to travel through time and steal it from their older selves. Meanwhile, their young daughters devise their own musical scheme to help their fathers bring harmony to the universe. Yeah. I did like 3 different voices there.
You did. I don't even know what you have. A lot of voices in you.
One voice per line is what I did. I feel like.
Okay, I'm liking it. So that's the plot, and for the most part, I mean, there are some other subplots that do happen, and subplots are necessary to say the least.
Do you call them subplots? I'm sorry, but that is definitely the weakest part. Do you call those subplots?
I don't know. Maybe I can. I feel like I should. What would you call them? I feel
like they're categorized as one, but it was very incomplete and unnecessary. I'm sorry. If they would have fleshed it out a little bit more, I feel like it would have been better.
Yeah, but when it comes to movies like Bill and Ted, I don't want to...
They didn't need it.
What?
They didn't need it.
No, it's not that it didn't need it. It's just I expect certain things from certain movies. So if there's like a loose plot thread from, let's say, a Christopher Nolan movie, I'm going to say, like, I'm calling you out, dude. Like, there's like, for all that you've done in this film, there should be...
You mean how Bruce Wayne got into a city that was on lockdown?
Yeah, I will absolutely call that out. Also, that really didn't bother me as much as other people didn't.
It's just funny to me.
Oh, I mean, I love how people just harp on this thing constantly. But, when I'm talking about Bill and Ted 1, 2, or 3, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. A lot of things. And, like, I come to expect it. So, with that...
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not watching Shakespeare.
But they quote it, though.
Oh, absolutely. They quote him and Socrates.
Yes. I love those movies. I really do. So,
they're so much fun.
I call it subplots because that's a conventional term that's used in film. But, I mean, it made me feel good. I mean, the story... So, there seemed to be 2 stories that were happening. There's Bill and Ted and their daughters.
Yes.
So, I feel as though the story was essentially recycled.
By the way,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. But by the way, if you haven't seen Bill and Ted yet, we will be doing, more than likely, talking about spoilers and spoiling things for you. So if you have not seen it, that's your warning.
Yes.
Just saying. In case we say something. Go ahead.
No problem. So I felt like there were 2 stories in hand. Like I said before, there's Bill and Ted, and then there's their daughters. When it comes to their daughters, there's Kelly and Thea, played by Chris. No, I'm sorry, not Kelly and Thea. Thea and Billy. My goodness, I completely got that name wrong. But they're played by Samara Weaving and Bridget Lindy Payne. I suppose I was more interested in their stories. And the reason why is because I know what Bill and Ted are going to do. I know they're going to go through time. I know that they're going to have this goal, and I know that they're going to screw up. And I know they're going to try and try and try and try again. I expected that. So I was more interested in what, their daughters were going to bring to it. And I was very impressed by what they were doing and how they were very much like their fathers and how they were just integral part to this whole thing. They wanted to help their fathers because they loved them so much.
Right.
So I suppose the repetitive story that I saw within Bill and Ted didn't really, I guess, bother me so much because they're older now. And so they can't approach things the way that they typically do. But they can't help but not be themselves. So, there was this moment in the very beginning of the film where Ted was in the garage and they were getting ready to practice. And he said, "We've been doing this a long time and I'm tired." That hit me harder than I thought it was going to be. There was so much authenticity in his voice. And I know we're talking about acting, but as far as the story is concerned, like, I think time is just this crucial element that has us all. And I think how we treat time, how we treat each other is just super important. So their motivations moving forward to really fulfill their destinies, which is something that they've been literally doing for their entire lives, it's truly impactful. Yeah. And it just really caught me off guard. I mean, when Keanu said that in the film, I had to take a minute. I was like, wow, they're older now, and they are not approaching this with the same kid gloves that they did before. So I appreciate that. I appreciated the start of the film and their enthusiasm and what was driving them, and it was authentic to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, so I'll just come out and say it. Like, this isn't the most complicated plot in the world, right? Like, this movie is, well, yes, like you said, there are moments sprinkled throughout this film that have like that impact of emotion, right? Mm-hmm. That definitely being one of the early ones. And then just seeing their journey and seeing their daughter's journey, and yeah, just having that knowledge of it's been 30 years since the last movie. You're here for a good time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this movie gave me. But along the way, they also kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like an emotional roller coaster in terms of, being just like the name of the subtext is, right? Face the music. Like, you're also facing getting older. You're also facing that, we're not young anymore. We're passing it on to the next generation type thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that context there, I think is fantastic. And,
of course.
Like, I think even though this is quite a very simple plot, it's also a very effective plot. Mm-hmm. And a plot that, you can learn from. And whenever movies do that, they entertain me and they're like, oh, fun and campy. But at the same time, like, no, I can definitely understand these characters, where they're coming from, why they're doing this. I feel like that elevates it even further. Mm-hmm. And I was very surprised that this one did that, because while the originals, sure, they had little things here and there that you can kind of pick out. I feel like this one, out of the three of them, has that most impact for me.
Of course,
for that specific thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
So.
And all things to be noted. I mean, they have responsibilities now. Before, their motivations was pretty standard. I mean, they want to do well in school, so their lives as rock stars aren't ruined. But now, they have wives that they need to watch out for. They have their daughters that they need to care for. They have the world literally hanging in the balance. So, it's not just a high school report. And man, I kind of wish we had the time to talk about, the original, but, I believe the plot was real enough and grounding enough in order to make a silly story, I guess, consumable. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. It was just the right level of of fun, and it was the right level of real as well.
For sure.
So I love it, and I'm so glad that they were able to make it in this way.
Yeah.
And as far as, I know we save this for the end typically. Well, I save this for the end for me, but based on the plot alone, I can imagine myself rewatching this multiple times.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So let's talk about, was there really action?
There were some action sequences and not really so much, physical fighting, but action. I would say action sequences is what action causes the next thing to happen. So there were several of note when Ted's dad is called to Dave Grohl's house. Not something that I was expecting, but I was like, hey, I know that guy.
Pretty great. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. So that whole action sequence when the robot was sent from the future to kill and destroy and ended up killing Ted's dad, I was like, okay, I'm liking where this is going, because Ted's dad has always been this very disjointed figure from Ted. Yeah. So as soon as that happened, there wasn't a moment where I thought like, oh no, he died. I was just saying like, okay, we're finally moving this character to finally see that his son wasn't lying and that he wasn't just a waste, that all the things that he had been saying all the while was true. So I was happy to see that, and that action really was able to convey that.
For sure. Yeah. The second I said action, I was like, oh, I immediately thought of that entire sequence. Also, excuse you, the robot has a name. Okay, his name is Dennis. Gosh, Dennis Caleb McCoy. All right,
you're right.
Don't you forget it.
I don't. And it's funny.
He was hilarious, by the way.
He is, and he's played by Anthony Carrigan, and I like him because he's in Barry. With Bill Hader, and he's a fantastic actor, and I know I've seen him in other things, but that's the one that I know him most recently. It's such a funny show, and I'm looking to complete the rest of the series because, as everybody knows, I always watch things very super late.
For sure.
But as the robot, or Dennis the robot, he's great. I really thought that they were going to bring this level of like seriousness to it, but when he realized he screwed up and he wanted to finish himself off, I was like, this is perfect for this film. I love it.
So good.
And the fact that him and Kelly, they dated, or they seemed like Dennis was very much like somebody Kelly dated. That just, again, that brought that silliness there over to. I mean, Kristen Shaw is just great in everything that she does.
For sure.
So
it's so good.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. But
it's really great.
There are a few other action sequences, but the action sequences are going to be any time that they move through, different time periods. I think in any time traveling movie.
Yeah, it's not like big set pieces, which is fine. I mean, like not every movie needs to have an Avengers level threat,
right?
So like you said, even the small little things like them in the prison when they're seeing their future selves in prison and like they're about to get into like this brawl fight in there, like that's technically an action sequence almost.
Yeah,
in itself.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to remember there was one more kind of sequence-ish type thing. I guess spoilers. I guess when they're confronting Dennis to like kill them and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of say that's an action sequence.
Of course,
action isn't, like you said, action isn't used in traditional sense in this film. It's just like you said, to move forward the plot,
right.
Just so something happens. Cool. Now they're going on to the next set of events.
Right, and it's always interesting to see just time traveling, just in general, to see how filmmakers or writers envision how one travels through time. So, very popular when we talk about, Back to the Future. You jump in a car, you go 88 miles an hour, you're surrounded by light, you leave a trail of fire, and you instantly arrive in another time frame. in Bill and Ted, they travel through time, but they have to go inside of a telephone box, which is super outdated at this point. But, they zip through time through these channels of these threads of time, and, they land in these places. But I am also really liking the moments when they realize that their backs are against the wall and they say that they're going to go in through time so they can set up themselves for the future. It is something that's been a staple in the first two movies, and they do it again in this film. I love it when they do that.
It's great.
It's like, so simple.
It shouldn't make sense, but it does.
But it does. It really, really does.
That's not how time travel works. However, I feel like they're not smart enough to know that, and so that's why it works.
I love it. I mean,
it's so good.
I love time traveling movies. I just love it, and it doesn't always need to make sense in order for it to work. It has to be entertaining, and needless to say, Face the Music absolutely does that in spades. And again, looking forward to watching this again. I love the movie. I absolutely love the movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so much. It's just so much fun, and the reason it's so much fun is because of the acting, Jace.
Yes.
Just like the other two films. My goodness. The breathtaking Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
the amazing Alex Winter.
Yeah, they really earn a special place in my heart.
They still got it.
They still do.
They still got it. What I was surprised about, though, are Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy Payne. Mm-hmm. Like, they had to have studied those first two films, like, in and out. Because they nail their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, film fathers, whatever. Like, they nail Keanu and Alex Winter in this movie. Like, they're like beat for beat their daughters.
Right.
And it's fantastic.
Right.
And I didn't think I was going to like them that much. And then, I started seeing them more in the film. I'm like, okay, no, these two girls are great. They're fantastic.
And they're smart in the film, which is like how they process information. They're not as seemingly dim-witted. And when I say dim-witted, that's not a slight to their characters, because that's what makes Bill and Ted so charming.
Yeah.
But Thea and Billy in the film, they are smart.
They more than likely got that from the princesses.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, so I did a little bit of research on the princesses. They changed every single film.
Yes, they changed in all three movies.
All three movies. So I was like,
I feel like the first time, obviously the first movie, that was fine, whatever.
Right.
The second movie, I feel like they needed to because they couldn't get the others.
Right.
And I feel like they had a chance to get them back, but they were just like, let's just keep with the joke, like the inside joke. I really hope that's how it went down.
I hope. I mean, I don't know too much about it.
Hilarious.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And
then they kept another joke going too.
Which one was that?
With Missy.
Oh yes, we will talk about that in a second. But I do want to finish talking about Thea and Billy. Again, their acting ability is to be absolutely commended in this, because I mean, what they brought to the film was, I suppose, what I was looking for in the film, because I don't want to keep seeing the same thing. Of course, I do want to see the same thing, but I want to see what else are you bringing. It's just like the Disney remakes that they do. Clearly I'm watching this film because you made this, in the 90s or in, whenever the original film was. So I know you're going to do that, but what else are you going to do? So whatever changes that they make, it's going to be welcome. So in a film like this, I feel like they were the shining stars. Of course, you can't take away from Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. But, like I said before, they are older and they're very much acting as though they have something far more important. I mean, they kind of fumbled in the first two movies. They died in the second movie, and they kind of just fell upon whatever it is that they needed to do in the first one for their school report. And things just kind of patched up together. But, they very much care about their lives. And, there was never a moment where I felt like, I don't really know if I believe these guys.
Yeah.
So, Keanu Reeves is an amazing actor.
Ugh, the man, he's breathtaking.
Yeah, he is. And then there's Missy.
National treasure. And yes, then there's Missy, who is still played by Amy Stock.
Yes, Amy Stock.
She was in the original 2 as well. And for those who are unaware of the first 2 films, which, by the way, why did you watch this one if you haven't watched the first 2? But anyway, maybe it's the first one that you're getting into it. So there's a running joke in the first movie. She was actually married to Bill's father. And then in the second movie, she divorced Bill's father and married Ted's father.
Yep.
And now in the third movie, she divorced Ted's father, but is now married to Ted's younger brother.
Deacon. Yes.
Who we saw as a child in the original movie.
Yeah, how about that?
And I'm just so glad that they kept that joke running. Like, I didn't even think about it when I watched the initial trailer, because they showed that shot of them at a wedding, and I'm just like, oh, they're just so broke now that they're playing at weddings or whatever, right? That was an amazing twist / reveal that it was a wedding for Deacon and Missy. It was incredible.
It was played by Beck Bennett, and I always love watching Beck Bennett because I think he's hilarious on SNL. Yeah. I was expecting, Deacon to come back, but I maybe he was not
in that way.
Yeah, not in that way. I'm like, yeah,
not in that way. And then there's speech about how you used to be my stepmom, but now you're my stepsister, and whoa! I'm just like, this is so stupid but so amazing. I'm loving every second of this.
Yeah. I'm glad that Missy was back again. I mean, This is clearly a problem that she's never really addressed.
Exactly.
Dude, that's your mom.
That's your mom, dude. Remember when I asked her to prom? Shut up, Ted! I love it so much. It's so dumb.
I'm so glad that the trilogy is finally here. But one person I was not expecting to see in this film, who I'm a massive fan of, is Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi is in this film as Kid Cudi. I have been a fan of Kid Cudi since his mixtape. So every single time he comes out with something new, and I'm like, gotta hear it. And he put out a rock album, and everyone was just like, what is he doing? And I'm like, what is he not doing is the real question. I love his range, and I love his fearlessness and just moving into different genres. And I love how flexible he is, and I love all of the things that Kid Cudi does. So the fact that he was in this film was validation for me, and I'm like, yes, you've done it. The fact that Kid Cudi, a rapper, a rocker, who does everything and makes it sound like, I saw him live and he's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The fact that he made it into Bill and Ted 3 is great, and the fact that he knows all of the scientific theory stuff is even better.
Say that is my favorite part, that he was the one explaining all of this astrophysics and everything. I'm like, Kid Cudi, you are fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
It's so good.
That was the icing on the cake, and it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it was really great to see him there.
Christian Shaw.
I didn't know what to expect from him, so just the fact that he was just that good, and I liked him that much in that role, I was like, all right, you do you, kid.
Right. And then there's two other people we cannot not mention. There's Christian Shaw, who plays Kelly. Takes over for George Carlin's role in the original films. We had thought that George Carlin was going to be mentioned by name, just as in memory of, and they did do that. It was a very touching tribute. You actually see an image, very much how they have it in real life technology, where they show an image and it kind of looks like it's a hologram.
It's a hologram,
and you see that when Bill and Ted, go to the future. So. Yeah. It was great, and
that was very well done.
It was very well done. Kristen Shaw is the daughter. Kelly plays the daughter of George Carlin's character of Rufus. That's right, and it worked. I mean, I
very well.
Like I said, I like Kristen Shaw and everything that she does. The Triceratops toy in Toy Story is like one of my favorites. Yeah. But she does lots of other things.
Dinosaur down the street.
Just a dinosaur. I don't know how they get those lines to be so funny. It's just, and it's so memorable.
Yeah.
But she was also in A Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2.
That's right.
Yes.
She's done a lot.
She has done a lot. And she was also in Gravity Falls, which I've seen a couple of episodes. She plays Mabel. And, you know,
she's really funny.
She's very funny. She's very, very funny. So she's great. Absolutely fantastic that she's in there. But you cannot forget William Sadler as Death.
The man with no tan. God,
I think
I'm throwing so many Bill and Ted quotes out there.
So I'm very certain the reason why I love Boga's Journey so much was because of Death.
Oh yeah, absolutely. William Sadler as Death. Wow, what brilliance he brought to that second movie. And as much as I really wish he was in this film a little bit more, the fact that we only get him for like that ending bit still makes it worth it.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
It's like a build up to it. And you're just like, I can't wait to see Death, can't wait to see that. And there he is, and he crushes it. It's like he never even left.
Yeah.
William Sadler he's a great actor, first of all. And then his Death is just the absolute best. One of my favorite lines, I don't know why, because it's a very throwaway line. But when they're in heaven in the second one talking to God, and they're just like, thanks God, and then they walk away, and then all three of them walk away, and then the shot is still staying of where they were standing, and then Death just walks back and he goes, sorry, they Melvined me. Every time. I don't know why.
And then he points to them like, it's not my fault.
It's not they Melvined me. It's so good. And then he has like weird lines, like a little, like right after that scene, they're seeing Station doing charades, and out of nowhere he's like, Butch and Sandence, the early years, and you're just like, what the hell? Why?
Like I said, Death in the second movie and how he appears in this one as like this pivotal role was welcomed. I love the fact that Bill and Ted needed their daughters in order for them to kind of bring them back.
To bring it back together.
To bring it back, right.
To bring the band back.
It was such a smart move. It was really, really smart. Because I thought they were kind of fumbled away. And it's like, remember the good times? I was thinking that was going to happen. The fact that, they were able to truly use the daughters in such a meaningful way. They weren't just throwaway supporting characters. They were very much integral to the film, which is, again, one of the reasons why I love this film so much. So,
no, for sure. Yeah, everyone, like all the original actors that returned, they all did an amazing job. And then, the newer cast, they also blended it so well. But a big theme of this movie is the music.
Gave it away there.
I did. Spoilers, sorry. But yeah, no, the music is center stage, right? And not just the Wild Stallions music, but like, just music as a concept, music as a universal thing, right? And, as as Bill and Ted, they travel through time in the future and try to, steal their song from themselves, basically. You have the daughters going back in time, just like they did in the original movie, and bringing together, composers and jazz artists and Jimi Hendrix. Like the second that I heard that guitar, I was like, they're getting Jimi Hendrix, aren't they? And I got so excited. And getting all of these different people together, it's like it reminds you that music is it is universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like if there's anything that people can 100%, what's the word I'm looking for, connect with,
Mm-hmm.
is music and laughter.
Mm-hmm.
And, the music throughout this is fantastic in every way. Just, including the score of the film, but then including the music that they produce and everything within it is just, I feel, is incredible.
Yeah. The appearance of, music, the fact that you have so many different types of musical instruments. It's not always just the drums. It's not always just the guitar. It's not always the bass. They covered a lot of ground. They have the history of music that's in there. So, and, the final song wasn't like cheesy. I really liked the final song. Yeah. So, and again, we always try and talk as much as, in film music as possible, the composing of it. There's no standout moments, but, the music is so entrenched within music that it's undeniable. There wasn't any kind of point where I said, they probably should have added some music in there. I am sure there's lots of, emotional parts that were, engineered because of the music that was playing.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we don't really talk about soundtracks that comes out with movies often. But I will say I did listen to the official soundtrack, and there's actually a few songs in there that I'm just like, all right, these are really cool. So I added them to my music library. So I'd check out the album if I were you guys, if you were listening.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the look of the film. Yeah. So what did you think?
The look was... I'm really glad that they updated the cinematography for this. Sure. If they had gone with, the late 80s, early 90s feel, I think that would have been a little bit too distracting.
Sure.
It was necessary.
It also would have clashed with the story that they were telling.
Exactly. I think it was necessary. And, with that, they were able to add in the special effects for this film, which I feel like goes in tandem with the cinematography, like the look and feel of the film. Everything has to kind of flow. And, if something looked bad, it was supposed to look bad. And in Bill and Ted, there are things that are in there that just don't look that fantastic. And that's okay. Yeah, it's absolutely okay.
But again, it's not like you expect this to be like super high budget anyway. So, like, perfect example, when they're in the future and they're kind of walking around, you're just like, that keying isn't doing so well there. Same thing when they're in hell, like not like when they're looking out when they're by Death's house. I'm just like, again, key's not doing so good there. So, but again, that's okay because you're just like, I'm not here for seeing these big budget green screens, but I'm here for the fun of it. And like you said, it's okay. I will give it a pass because this is still, at the end of the day, a very entertaining film.
Agreed. So I think that leaves us with conclusions.
Yeah. So this movie's great.
I
enjoyed it a lot. I will definitely watch it again. I have watched it again, actually.
Yeah.
So
I don't feel like we need a very long conclusion to say, like, it was everything I expected and more.
Yeah.
This is definitely something you can watch by yourself. You can watch it with a friend. You can watch it with a family member. It's very heartwarming. It's very, very heartwarming. And
it's just very fun. And I feel like, especially these days, fun is a little hard to come by. So
yeah.
This was a very nice welcome and a very nice, like, all right, yeah. Like, I'm chill and I'm having fun and I'm laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, agreed.
So, lets you forget about everything for about an hour and a half.
This was the first film that I saw since March. New film. Yeah. First new film that I've seen since, because the last one I saw was Onward. That was the last film that I saw in theater. I knew exactly. So I was very much appreciative of this film. And so I was a little emotional. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, it's true. I mean, I haven't seen a movie in like over 6 months. I don't think I've gone that far in my life without ever seeing a movie. So the fact that I got to see something new, even though it was from at home, is fine. I got a little like, this is great. I finally get to see something, review something, talk about it with a friend. It's something I enjoyed doing. And the fact that it was good was even better. And the story was emotional and heartwarming. And the dad moments that they have, it's too much, man. It's just really so much.
Sure. Yeah,
so,
a lot.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly a lot, but at the same time, like you said, very heartwarming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our conclusions, and this is usually where we talk about stingers, like post-credit scenes or cameos, things like that. We kind of already mentioned the George Carlin cameo, but there's actually an end-credit scene or post-credit scene.
There is,
which I did not think that there would be. So when I
scrolled
to the end, I was very pleasantly surprised that there was one more thing. And during the course of the film, as they visit their future selves, they finally visit themselves as old men, like on practically their deathbed. And what they decide to do is they decide to rock out one more time.
Yep.
As these old men. And as you remember, at the end of the second movie, they learned how to play guitar finally, right?
Finally.
So they shred. And I was like, this is amazing. It's just them, old men, shredding on this guitar, on these guitars. And I laughed, but then I also listened because I was like, that's actually really dope. Like the riffs that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I really like them, and I kind of wish it was a full song.
Yeah.
But it was really, really funny to me.
Yeah. I very much enjoyed it. I was hoping in the back of my mind, I was like, man, it'd be unfortunate if they went through 3 movies and they didn't actually like show the character's musical abilities.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's been the play of the entire, series, that these two, like, they want to start this awesome band and unite the world, and they don't know how to play the instruments. Yeah. So I'm like, they should be able to, and they did, and it worked. It really did.
It did.
So
it was pretty great.
Thankful for this movie. How many fresh geeks do you give it?
I give this a 4 out of 5.
I agree with you. 4 out of 5. Easily.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should continue and make a 4th, or do you think they should just leave it at this finally?
I don't know. I feel like this is a very good ending, and I'm usually like pretty selfish when it comes to those things. Like, no, I want to see more. Like,
sure.
I saw Incredibles instantly. Like, before the credits started rolling in Incredibles 1, I said, I want to see another one right now. Yeah. Second one, I want to see 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. You already know when it comes to Fast and Furious. Like, you can make 30 of those. Just please keep making them.
And we got some news that I'm like, let's go.
But staying on topic, this is one of those films where I'm like, I'd be good if they didn't make any more.
Okay.
I'd really be good. I mean, if they do it with the daughters, yeah, they could. But I don't know if they need to. I don't know if they ever like fulfill that need to want to like travel through time, Right. I think they only did it only because of their fathers. Mm-hmm. But other than that, they're very much content with staying with their family. So I don't believe the daughters really need to.
That's fair. Yeah,
and I don't know.
I'm kind of in that same boat where I'm like, yeah, I don't think they need to make another one. If they make one, sure, I'll probably go watch it. Mm-hmm. But like, this is a nice trilogy, and I do kind of hope that they don't touch it.
Right.
Because this was a very, very nice way to end it. So.
Right. Or unless they do the dreaded reboot, which unfortunately is always on the table.
Don't talk to me about reboots, please.
Just saying, they always do reboots.
We're done here.
We are. Still the mood. I did not. Yeah, Bill and Ted 3, Face the Music is still a fantastic movie. Go watch it.
Please go watch it. So that's it, right?
I think that's it.
Cool. So before we get out of here, we got some Xbox news. This actually kind of came out while we were recording this almost. So have you heard, Jace, about what happened?
No.
So, Windows Central is a website. As you can probably tell, they talk a lot about Windows and Microsoft products, right? Based on the name. Kind of like Mac Rumors for Apple. I don't know if you know that company.
Oh, I love Mac Rumors.
Yeah. So, pretty much what happened was Windows Central received a tip, or leaked rather, the Xbox Series S, which is separate from the Series X. I will tell you how in a moment here. But they leaked the Xbox Series S design, as well as the prices for the Series S and the Series X. So what they leaked was the design of the Series S, which is much, much smaller than the Series X. Have you seen it, by the way?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So it's much smaller. And it's a digital-only console. So no disk drive. It looks like a speaker for some reason, because I don't know why they have the very big spot for the fan. It's very strange to me, but you guys, you do you, Microsoft. But it's digital only, and Microsoft finally did confirm the next day, because they were just like, we need to get in front of this leak and kind of do a little bit of control. They did confirm that the leak from Windows Central that, yes, the Series S is coming out. Both consoles are coming out, on November 10th. Yes, November 10th of 2020. The Xbox Series S for $299, which is ridiculous, and the Xbox Series X for $499. So, I know you're not really an Xbox person, but we have been talking a lot of Xbox these last few podcasts.
Yes, we have.
Just because there's been a lot of information coming from Microsoft. Well, this one didn't initially come from Microsoft, but then they finally confirmed it. So what do you think about all that?
I think it's great. I don't know if that Xbox Series S is just, I just hate calling it that whole phrase. Just, there should be a better nomenclature for it. But in any case,
Series S.
Series S, or the S, the XS. No, can't say that.
No, you can't say that. Somebody else has got to.
Yeah, we're going to just wipe that and pretend we never said that. Just, it'll come from my throat, please. Anyways, the Xbox Series S is definitely not something I feel like would be worthwhile for me to get. However, if, like I said, if there's an exclusive and it's like, oh man, I gotta have it, then yeah, it would definitely be the Series S.
Sure. Yeah, it's a very tiny console compared to the Series X. It's about like what did they say? Like half the size, if not like a third of the size.
Yeah.
Half the size. But did you know? It looks like a third actually. But did you know that it's actually less powerful than the Series X?
I am aware, and I don't know if that really makes or breaks anything, because I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're telling me, like, there's a PS5 that's, so much more powerful, and there's one that's, like, a cheaper version, like, I just, truly, at the end of the day, I just want to be able to play, 4K movies.
Right.
If I can do that, and that's going to be on the one that's more expensive, then that's where I'm going to go. If they were making something similar to that, like the Series S version PS5, then I guess maybe I would do that if I just wanted digital. You know what I mean? So I don't really know if that really makes that much of a difference, because I have to look at grand scheme of things, like, if I'm buying the system, how much time am I going to be spending on it? Is it going to be worth my while? And if it is, then great. If it's not, then no.
Right, exactly. I mean, I personally think it's a cool thing. Yes, like if you want to get a next generation console, you have like this all powerful, almighty thing that you can get, this huge box for $499, and it's next generation, right? But if you don't necessarily have the funds for that, you can still get, this generation as well. Maybe not as powerful, but still on kind of the same wavelength, right? And I think that's really cool of Microsoft to do. Be like, hey, especially during these times, right, where money may be an issue for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that it's really cool that they kind of took that into consideration, or at least I hope they took that into consideration when getting the price for this model and allowing you to still enter the next generation without going like full blast on it, which is really cool. But this other thing that Xbox is doing that I really, really enjoy is they're doing like this financing program, kind of like you would for a phone almost, where you can start specifically for the Series S. You can pay $24.99 a month, and you get the console. You get Game Pass Ultimate, and now Game Pass Ultimate also comes with EA Play. So that means you are getting a whole bunch of stuff in this package and starting the next generation with all of these games right off the bat. And if you wanted to get the more powerful console, the Xbox Series X, it's $35.99 a month with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and EA Play, which is, to me, incredible. Because if you can't plop $500 right off the bat, but you can keep this console for $35 a month, and it comes packaged with Game Pass Ultimate, like, that is a steal.
Smart.
I'm sorry. That is really smart and really, really cool. Like, I almost considered getting an Xbox because of that. Because I was like, $35 a month and I get an Xbox Series X. But then I thought about it. I was like, well, I got a PC, so that doesn't really make sense for me.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have a PC, like,
Totally.
I almost jumped on it.
Totally.
So they are playing a really, really smart game. And that's why I think they're playing a different game to Sony, which, you know, God knows when Sony's going to friggin' tell us what their pricing is and whatever.
Right.
But that's why I think that they're playing two different games here, right? No pun intended. Xbox is really trying to get you into their experience, really trying to get you into Game Pass and, you know, their services, essentially. And the box is just there to, you know, just facilitate these services.
Right.
And that, I mean, that's probably gonna work out for them because, like I said, all of this, if I didn't already own a PC, which can pretty much play most of the games that are coming out on this thing, I would have jumped on 100%.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of businesses and I feel like we've discussed this already, how everybody's going into a subscription model. Everyone's going to a subscription model. I mean, you see this with automobiles. I mean, most people just don't have that money up front. So, I mean, they do leasing options. They do payment plans. Subscription models work very well for newspapers for generations. Now, you know, we have apps. We have, you know, services. We have streaming. I mean, all of these things are based on subscription, which you can cancel at any single time. The model works and it's familiar. So you can cancel, and if you cancel, the box is still there. You're still able to resume at any time. I like services like Hulu where you can say, don't want to subscribe right now. Let's just have it resume in like 6 months. And then when 6 months rolls around, you can do that. Again, I like that because it just gives me more flexibility. Sure. Some people don't do that. I'm sure I know the reason why, but that's neither here or there.
Right. But hey, I mean, this leak kind of turned around for Microsoft, so I will say good job, kudos to them. Like they handled it like a champ. I sent you some of the memes, I think, and Xbox's tweet. Xbox's tweet was hilarious. Their response to the
I love their tweets.
It was so good. But kudos to them. They really turned it around, and man, I'm hyped up to see what Sony does in response because, like, that is huge. I feel like it's really, really big.
Yeah.
They just need to freaking hurry up already. How long have we been waiting for this?
I mean, it feels too long, but I haven't been counting the days, which is dangerous during pandemic because 2 days can feel like 60.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
You're not wrong. All right, I think that's it right there. Hey guys, welcome back. So, something happened. Hi, Jace. Welcome back.
Yeah.
You're probably wondering why I kind of dragged you in here in the middle of the night.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I mean, you could probably figure out why.
I mean, I know why, but I want you to tell me why so everyone else can know why.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I was gonna edit this guy and have it all ready for Monday. Because first of all, we're a little late putting out part 2, so I apologize about that.
But it worked out.
The second thing, I didn't expect Sony to drop a bombshell on us, so there's that.
I feel like the wording on that is very poor.
How is it poor?
Sony dropped bombshell.
Yeah?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Oh.
I'll tell you when you're older.
But
just continue.
I guess I'm 7 years old right now.
Just keep going.
Just a little bit of sense, I guess. I had to talk when I was 12, so that could help out a little bit as well. And,
you were saying about the news.
There's news? There's news. Yes, there's news. So Sony had a press conference. We finally got it, Jace.
We finally got it.
We finally got what we wanted this entire time for months now. We got the price of the PS5. And not only did we get the price of the PS5, Jace.
Yes.
We also had opportunities to pre-order it. However, that fell to the wayside.
Yeah, I think that fell to the wayside for a lot of people.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. So first, let's talk about the conference itself. So Sony had a conference. It was a PS5 showcase.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a bunch of different games, which, by the way, Final Fantasy 16 was not expecting that.
Nope.
That was huge.
Nope.
They showed gameplay for Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
I need this game now.
Yeah, the game looks crazy.
Jace, I need this game right now.
I know you do. You nut. I'm with you. I want to play this game too.
I might finish it faster than I did the original Spider-Man.
Do you understand this is the only game that I've platinumed? Like, I want this game too.
And, by the way, that is true. If anybody wants to check out Jace's PSN profiles, that is the only game he has platinumed, his first ever.
And probably the only one. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Very proud of you for doing that.
No problem.
You did everything a spider could do. I'm so proud.
So Sony did announce a lot of games, and it wasn't just like, I don't know, the fact that I think that they started with Final Fantasy 16 and then they lead up to Spider-Man Miles Morales. And what was the third game that they announced?
Freaking Harry Potter.
Yeah, right? What? Okay, so the fact that those are the first 3 that they announced, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. So let's talk about the console. I mean, quite simply, we know that there's 2 consoles out now.
So we knew that there was a digital one. We knew that there was a disc one. We just didn't know how much.
Exactly. And now we know.
So now we know. The digital edition starts at $399.
Yep.
And the disc version starts at $499. Same as the Series X. Which,
I mean, to be honest, we kind of called that a long time ago. I mean, I just knew.
I feel like we did talk about that, and we said those exact numbers, didn't we?
I don't know if I knew about a digital version. I think that was going to be a surprise, but I said whatever.
Well, no, after they announced that there was going to be a digital
version. After they announced it, but I'm talking about like when they first announced like PS5. I just, without even seeing anything, I said it's going to be $500. I knew it. I just knew it.
That's fair. Well, I knew they weren't going to do $600 because, again, they did not want to go through what they did with PS3.
No.
So I never expect $600. So $500 sounds about right. Which, to me, I'm going to get the disc version.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Like I've been saying it the whole time. Like, I'm going to get this version. And I will drop $500 for a disc version. I am A-okay with that.
Me too.
As much as I love the design of the digital version, because it technically is a little bit sleeker since it doesn't have that drive protruding out from it.
Mm-hmm.
I just really need that disc drive to play my 4K Blu-rays.
Same. And which means I'm going to have to probably buy a few more movies again in 4K. But that's fine. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
And then, by the way, the coup de grace, to me at least, that teaser at the very end of the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Teasing that God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, so we
they
don't
know how to pull at my heartstrings.
Of course. I mean, again, if you're going to start with Final Fantasy 16, you know it's going to end like crazy. But what we also learned is I guess, some more information on what backwards compatibility really is going to look like. They said that backwards compatibility is going to be for a majority of the games. We still don't know really what that means, but it's suffice to say that if you have a majority of games, most of them should work.
I would say obviously all first party games is a lock in. Like they're not dumb. 100% any first party game is locked to function on PS4.
Right.
When it comes to third party games, I would imagine like the most popular ones will work perfectly fine. I would go as far to say that pretty much every game that I own more than likely will work fine because I generally go for like the mainstream titles. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem.
Right.
However, if you're talking about like, indie games, niche games like that are to a specific set of audiences, I feel like that's where it'll kind of get a little murky. But I also think they're just saying this to be like, look, we're pretty confident they're all going to work, but we're just going to be safe and just say the majority will.
Right. I don't think this is going to be.
To me, yeah. I don't think it's going to be a problem, honestly.
I think maybe a handful of games is probably not going to work at first, and it's probably going to be a few patches that will allow it to go through.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think as well.
At the box, it's going to be a majority of games, and I think many people are going to be happy with what they find.
Yeah, exactly. But we also got some other news from after the conference. They put it on their PlayStation blog. So we do know that the launch day games that are coming out, so day and date with the PS5, we have Astro's Playroom, which comes pre-installed on your PS5.
Right.
We got Demon Souls, which they also showed at the showcase. Looks beautiful. We got Destruction All-Stars. We got Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. And Sackboy A Big Adventure. Now, Jace, did you also see how much these games are going to be priced at?
I'm imagining 60, unless I'm wrong.
So some of them are 60, but two of them are 70.
Ooh, which ones?
So Demon Souls will be $70, and Marvel's Spider-Man: The Ultimate Edition is $70.
So I understand why Ultimate Edition is $70. That makes perfect sense to me. They remade the game for it to be on 5, and it's 2 games in 1. That's okay. I can pay $70 for that. The Demon Souls, I'm not really too sure about.
Yeah, but pretty much what this is kind of dictating is for the future. You know how nowadays games cost $60?
Yeah, they're testing the waters.
Yeah, but they cost $60, but then the lower price games are usually like around 40. I think 60 is the new 40 and 70 is the new 60. Yeah,
but to be honest with you, I'm okay with this because $50, $60 has been that way since console games back in the 80s. So the fact they're raising
they're getting a lot bigger budgets and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, well, it kind of makes sense.
Makes sense. So not worried about it.
Not worried about it at all either. So I kind of figured that this was going to happen. So it's whatevs. So we got that. We also have the actual day that it's coming out. It's coming out November 12th.
Yep.
So 2 days after the Xbox consoles release, they will be released the 12th. And then they're releasing the 12th in the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. November 19th for the rest of the world. So really quickly, can we just talk about this pre-order fiasco?
I mean, I feel like there's always going to be a pre-order fiasco. They also didn't really announce what time that this was all going to go live. So everybody just kind of...
That's what I'm most disappointed with.
Yeah, everyone just kind of did whatever they felt like doing. So I'm not too worried about it, to be completely honest with you. Because, and this is really, I'm not gonna dwell on like this is screwed up and I really wanted my pre-order. I'm not gonna say that. Yeah. I don't think this is gonna reach the pandemonium that the Nintendo Wii did back in 2006.
Yeah, but the Wii was its own phenomenon though.
True. Absolutely true.
Like that's a whole different beast. That entire time frame is just weird to me that even happened.
We should do a flashback episode on what that was like, and just do real time interviews. It's where were you when the Wii came out?
God, I just remember going from store to store.
We all did, Josh. We all did.
And then I did the same thing when Mario Kart came out. Nobody had it.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't get a pre-order. Did you? You didn't get one, right?
I tried. Yeah. But I mean, I went to bed. I mean, I got things to do, so they didn't say what time it was going to be. So I just said, all right, I'm trying in the morning, and it didn't work. So.
Well, the thing was that in the showcase they never mentioned when pre-orders were going up, and then later, like on the blog, they were like, "Oh yeah, no, it's going to happen tomorrow," but they didn't say when. And then at like 12, Walmart and Amazon all had their pages up, and then by the time I woke up, they were all gone.
Yeah,
and nobody has them anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure more pre-orders are going to come out in the future. It would be strange if they said like, "Yep, no more pre-orders until then." But again, if it does come out, I'm still not worried about it. Like I said, if I'm not able to get it in the first week, the first month, I'm very certain I should be able to get it by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
So
right now, my plan is on the 12th is to go to Best Buy and be like, "You guys got any that aren't reserved?"
Yep.
So hopefully they do.
I think we should be fine.
Yeah, I think we should be good. Yeah. So that's some big news. So
that's big news.
We now have prices for both consoles. We have release dates for both consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it begins.
I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be my first launch console.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yep.
Cannot wait. Like, I got so hyped during that entire showcase. By the way, can we really talk about Harry Potter really, really fast before we get out of here?
Sure.
It looks so much fun.
It does. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I mean, I'm obviously interested, so bring it on.
Yeah. No, yeah, like basically an RPG, but for Harry Potter. Let's go.
And if it's like multiplayer, like we were talking about, like Batman and all that stuff,
imagine that.
Please give me that.
We can walk Hogwarts together.
Please give me that. Please.
Oh, we can do that?
Please.
Let's go to Hogsmeade.
Do you understand? I have told you this multiple times before. Multiplayer for shooter games does nothing for me. I don't care. But you give me Batman, you give me Avengers, you give me Harry Potter, if you give me the stuff that I like, if they would... Could you imagine if they do an Uncharted remake? No, they can. They absolutely can. No. All they have to do is just remake the same game. You don't have to add anything new. No, just make the multiplayer. Stop it. I'm not asking for a lot. I just want to play multiplayer co-op missions in the same games that I was doing before. Totally possible.
Technically have them.
No.
It's just not like the story.
No, I don't want that. I want it through the game.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It can happen. I believe it.
No, because Uncharted isn't a co-op game. It's a single-player experience.
It can be. There's usually somebody who's following you around who's kind of shooting people.
In certain sequences, you got Sam in there and sometimes Elena, but like there's multiple sections where you're by yourself and it would make absolutely no sense for Drake to have somebody with him.
Don't ruin it for me. Just putting it out there.
Anyway, I'm super excited. I need this to happen.
Yes.
So, this is perfect. I can't.
It is.
I'm sorry for dragging you out in the middle of the night to record this.
It's okay. Does this mean I have to say my line? I mean, I agree, but does this also mean that I have to re-say the goodbye lines?
Yeah, because I was listening back to the other one and you didn't really sound that good.
So disrespectful. Thanks for...
Wow, you messed up in 30 seconds.
I just realized what you just said to me. It didn't sound that great, really?
I'm trying to make it funny. Come on.
I take offense to that. I don't really take offense to that. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, if you like what we had to say, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Jace Rockland, and Josh.
I am at JCA90. You can also find us over on Twitter at FGC Podcast, on Instagram as FGC Podcast, or email us at freshgeekcontext@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website at freshgeekcontext.com for written articles, galleries, and videos, as well as Breaker.com. Just search for Fresh Geek Context there, or on any of our streaming platforms of your choice. It goes a long way for us to know that you're listening, and share with your friends so they can be Fresh Geeks too. Everyone, Have a great night.
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
See, this time you did it way better. Guys, you should hear the blooper reels. He did a horrible job last time.
Don't ruin it for everybody.
I'm ruining it because I had to listen to it twice.
And I'm still tired.
Bye, everyone.